YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I'm bringing you guys episode 8 of our Road to Regionals St. Louis series, where I learned the VGC 2017 format, practice my skills in the championship battle format on the Battlespot, ultimately compete in St. Louis, Missouri at VGC 2017 St. Louis. It should be an absolute blast. We've done pretty well so far, 11-4, and it does seem that the Battlespot did reset the rankings because we are in Season 2 now of Battlespot. I really don't know how that works. All I know is that we start at 1500 again, and our 11-4 record basically pretends like it doesn't exist anymore. I'm probably going to keep track still with the 11-4 and just add to it, but if you guys would rather me kind of reset it for the ranking for starting today, I can do that too. Totally up to you guys. Hit that like button down below if you're enjoying this series. I've been having a blast. I hope you guys are digging it. And last but not least, we do have a question of the day today. What lesser used Pokemon should I breed for Road to Regionals? I'm working on setting up my third team for this series. I've got a lot of new Pokemon that I'm working on between Kartana. I've got some Buzzwoles. I've got some Xurkitries. I've got a Milotic I'm working on. I'm about to try to catch a shiny Arcanine hopefully this week, so I can use Arcanine on this series as well. So I've got a couple different ideas of Pokemon I can bring to this series. So let me know what lesser used Pokemon you'd like to see, because I'm happy to try to feature them and test out some new stuff as we try to figure out what team we're ultimately going to be using. And I do want to mention this too. A lot of people have been asking me if the team I'm using on these episodes is going to be the team I bring to St. Louis. Absolutely, positively not, guys. These are just my first teams that I'm building. I'm going to be tweaking things, and ultimately, probably in a few more weeks, I would say with maybe 2 weeks to go before the event, we'll have our team that we think we're going to use, and we'll tweak it as we go. And that's kind of my thought process there. But anyway, let's get to our jump into our first battle, championship battle. Let me get my stylist ready to rock, and I'm ready to go. So like I said, we will be starting at 1500 ranks, so we do kind of start over, and I think we're good to go. So we did have to just re-register there. I've got my team here, same team as we used in the last episode. If you missed that, you can check out the description below for the team breakdown, or simply watch the last episode, and I kind of talk about the team there at the beginning of that episode. So let's pick some good music. As you see, we do start over here. Let's go with some Team Skull admin music, because that's always got that nice vibe. We're gonna face Maximilian from Germany, so we'll see what he's rocking with. Looks like he's got a hard trick room today. He's got Slowbro, he's got P2 Vikavolt, he's got Hariyama, Wigglytuff, which is probably competitive, and Rampardos. So some pretty big threats. Definitely seeing hard Trick Room here, so we're gonna have to work around that. I think my own Trick Room setter could be effective. I think the fact that he's likely to go for a Fake Out could be pretty effective as well. So I think I want to lead Marowak here, because I could potentially be able to hit something incredibly hard with Marowak. I don't really have any other way to deal with Fake Out and stopping his Trick Room, so I'm thinking the best way for me to go about it is Garchomp could be pretty effective in the back. I think bringing my own P2 is a good idea as well, but I think I'm gonna lead Fini Marowak to kind of stop the Hariyama, and I could really hit the Hariyama pretty hard from Marowak. And then otherwise, I'm thinking dealing with that Rampardos is very scary. So I'm really liking Garchomp here for a couple of reasons, unless he has HP Ice. And then I'm thinking bringing my own Porygon2 could be pretty effective as well. Tapu Koko does have some usefulness because of its speed. I don't really see Vikavolt working here. I'm thinking P2 on my own is going to be a good bet, just because it's so bulky and it usually can take on some pretty good hits and put in some work. A Koko is very appealing, but I know he's going to have that Trick Room, so we do have to be very cautious there. So I'm going to go P2, and we're bringing a little bit of a weird team here, because this is the first time I'm really facing hard Trick Room, and I'm worried about him leading Hariyama P2 and trying to fake something out, which is why I'm going to lead with my Marowak here. So if he does something other than that, if he leads Slowbro, then obviously we have to be pretty cautious there, but I might be able to get off a, I might be able to get a Calm Mind with Fini, so we'll see. We might be able to pressure that Hariyama quite a bit on the first turn, and that's kind of what I'm hoping to do here, because he'll be forced to Fake Out into Fini if he does lead Hariyama. So he does lead P2 Hariyama, which is pretty much what I expected. So he is forced to Fake Out into Fini here, which doesn't bother me at all. I could really just kind of Calm Mind Fini or Protect if I would like, but I'm thinking the Calm Mind makes the most sense. He does get a special attack boost, which is kind of a bummer. I'm going to let him get that Trick Room up. I'm thinking that my best play here is to simply go for the Flare Blitz into the Hariyama and just try to knock that thing out. So that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for the Flare Blitz into Hariyama, and I'm going to go for the Calm Mind with, I'll just Calm Mind Fini, because if he doesn't Fake Out, I really feel like he's going to. But on the off chance he decides not to Fake Out, we could potentially hit something incredibly hard. So let's go for the Calm Mind, but I'm pretty sure he's just gonna fake out into the Fini slot here. And there is the fake out. He obviously does have to target the Fini slot, so I could have protected and saved it, but it's really not too big of a deal. He's actually gonna Thunderbolt, and the Lightning Rod does activate, so that does protect our Fini, and that works out incredibly well because he does not get his Trick Room up on this first turn, and I'm gonna be able to fire off a big Flare Blitz into this Hariyama now, and that is going to do a tremendous amount of damage and just straight up knock out the Hariyama. So that is one big threat out of the way. I take a tremendous amount of recoil damage. I do recover a little bit of health from leftovers here. And it seems like he was just going for the offensive because he got that special attack boost, but perhaps he forgot about the Lightning Rod, or maybe he thought that I was gonna switch out the Marowak. But here comes that Rampardos, which I'm not surprised to see. That is a very, very big problem because with the Trick Room, it could be very scary for my team here. Now, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that Marowak is gonna be destroyed by Rampardos, but there's not a whole lot I can do about that. I don't really know if I can switch here, and I don't want to just allow him to set up on me. So I think what I need to do here is I think I need to go for a Bone Meringue or a Shadow Bone into the Rampardos, probably a Shadow Bone, just because I don't want to miss. If he's min speed Rampardos, I'm not quite sure where that ends up. I think I'm going to Bone Meringue into the Rampardos, and I think I'm going to go for the Muddy Water here, and I think a combination of the two should be able to at least knock out the Rampardos, unless he goes first, but he does protect, so the Muddy Water play actually ends up working out because I'll hit the P2 here, but I should have probably figured he was going to protect. But that's totally fine. Now, one thing I do actually want to check here real quick is I want to just see what's Rampardos' base speed, because I'm pretty sure he's going to go for a Trick Room, and he does. So let me look that up, because I actually don't know. And I know I wouldn't be able to do this in the league, but Rampardos isn't something I see very often. So it's 58 base speed. And what is Marowak's base speed? Because Marowak actually might surprisingly be slower here. 58, and Marowak is 45. So my Marowak should actually be slower than his Rampardos. So I'm going to go for the Bone Meringue into the Rampardos slot, and I'm simply going to go for a Protect here with Tapu Fini, and we're going to try to knock out this Rampardos right off the bat and save my Fini here, because we do have to burn out some Trick Room here, and I think we're going to be faster. He's going to switch out his P2, which is great for us, into the Wigglytuff, so we see his entire team. He does not bring Vikavolt or Slowbro. And he is going to, we should be faster than him under Trick Room, and we are. And we missed the Bone Meringue, which is huge, and he head smashes into our Marowak. And that is such a bummer, because that Bone Meringue would have most certainly taken out that Rampardos, and that is such a bummer to me, truthfully. I'm gonna go into my P2 here because it's the bulkiest thing, and this is kind of a tough situation to be in now. If I can get rid of that Rampardos, I feel like we're in a decent situation, but it's going to be very hard for us to break that thing down. So I'm going to go for the T-Bolt into the Rampardos slot, and I'm going to simply go for the Muddy Water as well. I believe a combination of those two will be enough to knock him out, but if he targets Fini with Rampardos, that could be problematic. Here comes the Hyper Voice, and that miss was really, really brutal. I would imagine a Head Smash is going to knock us out, and he's actually going to go for the Z move here. And man, that Bone Meringue was so brutal. If he targets P2 here, we may actually just straight up lose. But we're gonna hope that somehow something can live a hit here. I don't think Fini's living this. I think he's gonna go into Fini here. We are running almost max HP, max defense, but I don't think Fini's living this hit, if I'm being totally honest. This is a very powerful hit here. And we don't, he crits me too. Oh man. This match is not our match, guys. We're gonna fire off a Thunderbolt here, and it's not gonna be enough, even with the special attack increase. And I will have to go into Garchomp here, and basically what I need to do is I need to get rid of this Trick Room, and then I need to figure out a way to beat that Wigglytuff, which is problematic as all heck. I can't really do a whole lot. He's got 2 more turns of Trick Room, so what I have to do is I have to T-Bolt into Rampardos and simply protect Garchomp here, I'm thinking, because he's gonna probably go for some sort of fairy type move against Garchomp. Although it doesn't really matter. I gotta actually go on the offensive with Garchomp, I think. So I'm gonna Poison Jab into Wigglytuff here. If I protect, then that Porygon comes out, and then he pretty much beats my Garchomp. So I just have to hope that I can obviously live this Dazzling Gleam and see what he targets, or maybe he misses. He does Head Smash. If P2 can live this, that would be huge. And we are gonna live on 25. and he just dies himself actually, which ends up being probably the best case scenario here, guys, because we're gonna Thunderbolt Poison Jab into Wigglytuff now. And Wigglytuff's pretty bulky, but it's not gonna like these 2 hits, guys. Poison Jab comes off into the Wigglytuff and does not secure the kill. We obviously can't poison. The mist disappears, and now we're in a situation where that Wigglytuff is gonna be faster than my P2. He's got his own P2 that he could double into my Garchomp here, and we're ultimately not gonna be able to win this match, I don't believe, especially considering he just got an attack raise there. The only way I have a chance to win is if I can recover P2, and then I'm gonna basically need to protect here with Garchomp and just hope that somehow P2 can live a hit from the Dazzling Gleam right now, which seems very unlikely. And if his P2 doesn't carry Ice Beam, there's some hope. He's gonna Hyper Voice. I don't think P2 is gonna live this. I am min speed, so there's a chance we are gonna be able to recover, but we're not gonna live the Hyper Voice here. So this is looking like it's gonna be tough, and he does show the Ice Beam. So not a whole lot I can do, guys. The only way we can possibly win this is if I'm able to connect a crit Continental Crush into the Porygon2 slot, or Tectonic Rage into the Porygon2 slot. We'd have to crit it, and he would need to get like a super min roll on his Wigglytuff. I don't even know like how it would work. I don't really think there's any instance we win here, because Ice Beam obviously knocks us out from P2, and Dazzling Gleam will knock us out from Wigglytuff. So I think we just lose regardless. But let's talk about this match and kind of like what went wrong. We knew that Rampardos was a huge threat, and unfortunately missing that Boomerang was a huge deal. Perhaps I should have went for the Shadow Club just to get as much damage off on it as I could. As you can see, a crit would have sealed the deal there, but unfortunately we do not get a crit. So that's definitely a bit of a tough loss there. I'm not gonna beat myself up too much over it. You know, I think I played around the Trick Room okay, but ultimately that Rampardos, that one miss, man, I'm not complaining about the miss because it's part of the game. I'm not upset about it, but I do think that obviously made a very tremendous impact in this match here. I think I picked the right Pokemon though. I think I had the right Pokemon out there. I think I predicted the Hariyama fake out lead. You know, we protected, I should have probably protected Fini on the first turn, but it's all good. So I'm not too mad about that. I'm trying to think of what else I could have done to make up for that miss, but that miss was so big because that would have eliminated Rampardos and kept Marowak on the field, which that alone would have resisted the Wigglytuff's attacks, put on a ton of offensive pressure, especially since I was slower than everything. I don't think a Shadow Bone would have been enough to knock him out, the Rampardos at that point. Maybe after Head Smash, but after Head Smash damage, but he had that Rocky MZ. So I don't know, not a whole lot I could do there. Trying to be, you know, take something positive from it and realize the mistakes there. But that one was a bit tough because of that miss there. But we got Jason from New York, and Jason looks like he's had similar fate to me. He's got a Gastro, which is always a problem for my team. He's got a Gigalith, Kartana, Arcanine, Garchomp, and Koko. So quite a bit of offensive threats here. I do have a hard time dealing with Kartana, if I'm being totally honest, just in general. I think getting up Trick Room is pretty useful. He may be predicting my Trick Room though. Yeah, this is a bit tough for me because I have to figure out a way to get rid of that Kartana without it causing too much trouble for the rest of my team. So I'm thinking what I'm gonna do here is I'm thinking Fini Marowak again kind of does make some sense. I do like Garchomp in this match for a lot of reasons, although I don't like the Garchomp mirror match. But I think getting Garchomp in the lead, I think P2 is also very effective in this match. So let's lead P2 Garchomp, a little weird. And then I think I actually want to bring Marowak in the back and Fini in the back too. I think those Pokemon are going to be pretty effective because Marowak can actually put some pressure on, obviously, on the Arcanine and the Kartana. Garchomp and Fini. Fini can help with the Gigalith, which could be problematic. I don't really think Koko is going to be that effective in this match because he's got his own Koko, he's got the Garchomp and the Gastrodon to sponge hits, although I do have the Grass Knot, which could change things. The only thing I would think of switching out here, maybe Marowak for Koko and try to catch him off guard maybe. Yeah, let's actually withdraw Marowak and bring Koko, and let's see how that works. Maybe that was a mistake, but we do have a electric resistant Garchomp, and he may not be tempted to bring his own Koko because of the fact that we have one, but that Grass Knot on the Gastrodon could be very, very useful, and I almost forgot that I had it. So we'll try to see how things go here. Hopefully we can pick up a win because that last one was a bit brutal. But Jason, let's see what he's going to lead with. He's going to lead Arcanine Gigalith, so not too surprising there to see the Gigalith and the Arcanine, of course. Very nice shiny there. Totes legit, I'm sure. We've got Garchomp P2, and Garchomp immediately threatens his team here, which is quite nice for a couple of reasons. It definitely puts on some pressure. I don't want to set up Trick Room, if I'm being totally honest. We do get a special attack raise, which is nice, and the Sandstream is going to activate for Gigalith. So I'm actually thinking I want to go into that Gigalith slot right now. I'm less concerned about the Arcanine, although he could burn me, which could be scary. But knowing his team, he doesn't really have anything that might want to switch into kind of like a Z Earthquake here. So I'm going to go for that Tectonic Rage into the Gigalith slot because I am really worried about that thing. I'm actually going to T-Bolt into the Gigalith slot as well because we did get that special attack boost, and I'm hoping that the two combined will be able to knock him out, but I'm not exactly sold on that being the case. But he's going to Wide Guard, which is actually what I was hoping he would do, predicting an Earthquake here. And he's actually gonna boot up a Firium. No, that's my Z move. I'm just kidding. I'm faster than his Arcanine. So we're gonna get a big Tectonic Rage off here into the Gigalith slot. This is gonna really hurt. And if it doesn't pick up the kill, which it may not, depending on his spread, he could be like a physically bulky set. We have that Thunderbolt coming off, and that should hopefully be enough, despite the fact that the sand boosts his special defense. But this is a really strong attack coming off from our Garchomp here, and that does live on one. And luckily, we do make the decision of Thunderbolt with the P2. Looks like he actually went for Roar with his Arcanine into our P2 slot to prevent our Trick Room, and it all works out for us. That is a great first turn. Getting rid of Gigalith, getting our Fini on the field, which is quite nice as well, which reduces the power of Dragon-type moves, which reduces the threat of his own Garchomp coming in to threaten my Garchomp now, which is very nice. And that Sandstorm, secretly, guys, I have Sand Veil and Not Rough Skin on my Garchomp, and this is one of those rare instances where it's gonna pay off. I do have a Rough Skin Garchomp that I have bred, I just haven't been using it. So we do have one of those rare circumstances where we actually have something working for us here. Now here comes our Kartana. And Kartana is very scary for a lot of reasons, and it's always been one of those Pokemon that has been very, very scary to me. I don't really like facing Kartana. So I don't want to allow him to Leaf Blade into Fini. That just seems incredibly dumb, and I don't really have a good switch in for it. So I'm thinking I just want to Earthquake Protect here. I know that's kind of an obvious play, but I think that's the best play because his obvious play would be Leaf Blade into my Fini slot, and I just don't want to allow that right now. I'd rather switch into P2 on the following turn with Fini and ensure that it stays alive because it really puts on a lot of pressure on Arcanine. So I'm going to protect an Earthquake here, and even though Kartana is really bulky, this would break a potential Sash on Kartana and also allow me to kind of see what he wants to do with it. So he's going to stay in with that Arcanine, and this is going to probably do a decent chunk to Arcanine. We are -1, but I'm thinking it's going to be like a 30 to 40% damage on the Arcanine. And we're going to see actually more than that, leading to me believe he may be a little bit more on the offensive side. He does fire off a Leaf Blade into the Fini, so we do predict that. And there's the Will-O-Wisp going into Garchomp, but he can't use it because we have the protective misstep. So a little bit of a mistake from my opponent there, thinking that he was going to be able to go for a Will-O-Wisp with the Misty Terrain, which is very, very nice. It's such a good advantage to have that Misty Terrain to really protect your team there. So we're kind of in the same situation we're in. I'm thinking an Earthquake still makes a lot of sense here because he doesn't really have anything to immediately threaten my Garchomp. And I think I'm just going to go actually into Porygon2 here because it's incredibly bulky and I really like my Fini and I want to keep my Fini around. And I think that I can make some funky switches here in that slot to take the potential Leaf Blade here, and then potentially take the Sacred Sword on the following turn with Fini again. So we're gonna get that download boost, special attack boost would be great, and we grab it. Earthquake's gonna come off here. Now that is gonna hurt my own Porygon2, but it should do tremendous amount of damage to that Arcanine again, and we do pick up the kill on the Arcanine, incredibly threaten that Kartana, and that's gonna put him in a slot where he only has 2 Pokemon in the back. Here comes that Leaf Blade, and it is gonna connect into my Porygon2 and do a tremendous amount, but not enough to the point where I feel that we can't live another one. I actually think we're in range to live one more. Maybe not a Sacred Sword, but we can live another Leaf Blade. Now here comes the Garchomp of his own, which we do threaten out right now with the fear of potentially going for a Dragon Claw. So I'm actually going to I'm actually gonna Dragon Claw into the Garchomp. Is that what I want to do? Let me think about this. I have to get rid of that Kartana ASAP. What do I want to do here? Because I don't want him to double into my Fini, but I need to get in my Koko, because Koko actually can put in some work right now. Koko can put in a tremendous amount of work right now, but I gotta play this properly. I think I let P2 go down, although the Sacred Sword is definitely annoying. I think I just let it go down and go for another Earthquake, because Dragon Claw really isn't gonna do a ton. And that can get me Koko in, but I need as much damage off in the Kartana as I can. So I'm gonna Earthquake, and I'm gonna Ice Beam into the Garchomp. I don't think I got it in time, but if I did, that'll be awesome. So I go for the Earthquake myself here just to get some chip damage off. And again, I'm trying to weaken that Kartana as much as possible to give myself a chance to knock it out. Now he is gonna Dragon Claw, and he goes into the Garchomp, but again, the kind of the terrain is gonna save us there. Sacred Sword does go into our P2. Definitely quite annoying that he takes us out there. But at the very least, we do immediately threaten that Kartana now. So that's the good thing. Now I'm gonna go into my Koko, because Koko can immediately threaten the Kartana with an Electric type move. Now the only thing that would be a real big bummer right now is if that Kartana is carrying, whatchamacallit, if that Kartana is carrying Protect. Because if he protects and then goes into, goes for an Earthquake, it's gonna be kind of tough. But I think what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go for the Dazzling Gleam. No, I think I have to Thunderbolt. Do I Dazzling Gleam or do I Thunderbolt? The problem is the Dazzling Gleam may not be enough to pick up the kill on Kartana. That would be my biggest concern. He's very, very low though. I'm gonna go for the T-Bolt into the Kartana here. Although, actually, if I EQ, is that a bad play? If I EQ just to kill Kartana and Garchomp and protect Koko, that means that Koko is protected for one more turn. So let's EQ. I'm running out of time. This is really bad. And we're gonna protect. We're gonna protect Koko. So we're gonna try this play here. I'm gonna protect Koko just in case his Kartana has Protect. If it doesn't, then we'll get the EQ off here. He does have Protect, so that was a great play. That was a great play. He does not have the Assault Vest, which means Dazzling Gleam should be enough to pick it up. I'm gonna get my Earthquake off, it looks like, and that should do some damage to his own Garchomp. And that'll put him in range for Dazzling Gleam now, I believe. Which is quite nice. I think. And he's gonna Earthquake, of course, and that will do a decent amount to our Garchomp. I don't think it's gonna, oh, we actually skillfully dodge it. Sandstorm, man. Sandveil is clutch right there, guys. So it seems that my Garchomp is faster than his. So I'm going to Dragon Claw into the Kartana slot just in case, and I'm gonna Dazzling Gleam. And I think a combination of those two should do enough here to win. Is there any instance where this isn't a good play? Because Kartana's not going to double protect here. Thunderbolting into the Kartana slot doesn't seem to make much sense. I could Dragon Claw into Garchomp. Tapu Fini beats Garchomp one-on-one, so I still have that in the back. It's really a matter of getting rid of that Kartana. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Dazzling Gleam, and we are going to be faster. He does go for the double protect and does not get it, which is huge. Dazzling Gleam should be able to pick up the kills here. And it does. It picks up the kill on the Kartana, and I Dragon Clawed the Kartana slot, which means it's going to move over to the Garchomp slot, and this should do enough to knock out the Garchomp as well. My Garchomp seems to be faster. This is 3 times in a row where I'm faster. And we pick up the W, man. So that was a good match. We had to play very carefully there. I almost ran out of time on most of my turns, but we do pick up a win, and I like to end on a very nice note there, picking up a nice 12-5. We are 12-5. We're 1-1 now since the reset of Battlespot, and I think that's good for now, guys. I'm still tweaking out this team a little bit, but I'm glad we picked up a win there. So 3-1 with this team, 12-5 overall. Kind of looking back at that match, I feel like that play at the end was really, really a 50-50, and those are the kind of 50-50s that I think are the difference between winning a game and losing a game in VGC that I found. Is like, let's talk about that play there, because I think that was a really, really good play, and I think that's demonstrating that I'm learning more about this, right? So in that situation, it was Kartana and Garchomp versus Garchomp Koko. Had I went for the Dazzling Gleam on that first turn and not protected, then I would not have hit his Kartana, obviously, because he protected, and the Garchomp may have lived the Dazzling Gleam on its own, and then fired off an Earthquake, which could have potentially knocked out our Tapu Koko. But maybe not. Actually, it did live the Dazzling Gleam. We saw that. It actually lived a Dazzling Gleam, and it would have potentially knocked out our Tapu Koko at that point in time, and the Kartana would have still been alive, and then it would have been Kartana Garchomp at very tiny health versus Garchomp and Fini. And the problem with that scenario is at that point in time, his Kartana could then target my Fini, and he's faster than everything. And then Kartana would actually knock out Fini, and then I would need to rely on somehow my Garchomp beating his Kartana and his own Garchomp. Turned out I was faster, but had he went Leaf Blade into Fini, Dragon Claw into Garchomp, he could have actually won the match at that point in time. So that Protect on the Koko proved to be the best play there, and that was ultimately what actually won us the match, because we may have lost. If that Kartana gets a +2 attack boost, I would imagine a Leaf Blade could really knock out our Tapu Fini at that point in time, especially since it has a higher chance of a crit, despite our very high bulk. That was, I'm actually very happy with that play there. It worked out. It obviously could have not worked out, but the worst case scenario that happens is he likely targets Leaf Blade into Koko anyway, or he double attacks Koko. His objective in that situation is to kill my Koko. So by protecting there, I really don't lose anything because I know I'm faster than the rest of his team, and I know that Dazzling Gleam will be able to pick off the other two, or at least a combination of Dazzling Gleam plus whatever will knock out the Garchomp. So that was kind of the logic there. It all worked out at the end. I'll take it, man. Thank you guys for watching this episode. Hit that like button if you enjoyed. Don't forget our QOTD. That's gonna be it for me, guys. My name is Dan. I'll ask about aDrive, and I'm gonna catch you guys later. Peace.